This economy has pushed people into the streets. Homelessness is out of control. Family, you already know what to do. And if you're brand new too, thumbs up this video so YouTube can push this content out. Smash subscribe to join the tribe. And ring the post notification bell as well. All right, let's get into another rant, man. Let's keep it going.
System is fucked. It's fucked. When I tell you that I've seen mothers in their cars sleeping with their kids.
I've been homeless 3 times in my life and am on the verge of being homeless again.
The entire 1 year I lived homeless on the streets, you know who showed up for me the most? It wasn't the church people who I grew up with, who had all the beautiful scriptures to quote. It wasn't my best friends I went to school with my whole life. It was the prostitute who let me stay in her hotel room for 7 days.
You might have noticed that we have a pretty significant homelessness crisis in this country.
What is happening here in Alaska?
That approximately 185,000 plus individuals and families were recorded as experiencing homelessness in the United States.
Homelessness is on the rise in the U.S. Homelessness has increased by 18% since last year due to the raising rents, housing unavailability.
Oh boy, try my best not to cry. Trying to get...
Homelessness is only a problem because of capitalist greed.
I have recently been turned homeless.
We have more than enough resources to house, feed, and provide community support for every single person in this country.
People always want to blame homelessness on anything but housing itself. It's mental health, it's drug use, it's this, or it's that.
I hate when it feels like I have so much to say, but I'm struggling to find the words to really express what I am feeling.
The homelessness crisis is spiraling out of control, and there's no end in sight. Cities are overflowing with makeshift tents, shelters are at capacity, and millions are one missed paycheck away from losing their homes. Rent keeps rising, wages stay stagnant, and affordable housing is nothing more than a distant dream. They say solutions are coming, but for the people sleeping on sidewalks tonight, promises don't pay for a roof over their heads.
I just found out that the fastest growing demographic of homeless people are the elderly. They've been priced out of their homes. I fucking hate it here.
Homelessness is only a problem because of capitalist greed. We have more than enough resources to house, feed, and provide community support for every single person in this country. But capitalists try to convince you that these people don't deserve it because of drugs. Get real. Solving homelessness just isn't profitable. Unlike war, the alleviation of human suffering rarely serves the profit motive. It's so much easier to convince you that homeless people deserve what they get and to scare you into maintaining the status quo to avoid their fate, because we literally treat dogs better than we treat homeless people in this country. We could eradicate homelessness. Capitalism just won't let us.
Did you know that according to the U.S. Department of Urban Housing Development, that approximately 185,000 plus individuals and families were recorded as experiencing homelessness in the United States? That's about 1/3 of the homeless population, and that's the highest ever recorded. We need to do something. Let's go house some homeless people.
The entire 1 year I lived homeless on the streets, you know who showed up for me the most? It wasn't the church people who I grew up with, who had all the beautiful scriptures to quote. It wasn't my best friends I went to school with my whole life. It was the prostitute who let me stay in her hotel room for 7 days so I could detox from heroin so I wouldn't get jumped in an alleyway. It was the fellow homeless guy who gave me his only blanket so I didn't have to crawl up in a ditch to get warm. It was the dealer who looked at me and said, you know what, man, you're better than this. You can do so much better with your life. Get out of here. The world looks at them like they're outcasts and they have nothing to offer. But the truth is they were more real to me than most people I'd ever met. Your worth isn't determined by your circumstance. We all have something to give regardless of where we're at.
You wanna know why?
And people consider them basically like the scum of the earth, right? They low lives. They consider them all of these things, all of these names that they place on every single person that he just named. Right? The pro, the dealer, the homeless guy. But those are the ones that will actually look out. Not always the dealer, but people that got a lot to give, they won't even give you a dime. Right? They look at you like you less than human when you down and out. But the person that's down and out, that don't got nothing itself, be the main one that'll give you his cover when he don't even know how he gonna stay warm at night. Give you the shirt off his back or her back when they don't even know when the next time they'll even have clothes. It's crazy. You should never look down on nobody. I say this on every single one of these videos. Every single person is one paycheck away from homelessness. I don't care what job you got. I don't care where you work, what career you got. You one paycheck away. Humble yourself. Everybody should learn to give. If you got it to give, you should give. When somebody asks me for something, like if a homeless person asks or I see them at the light, if I know they're not an addict, then if I got some change or a couple extra dollars, I'm going to give it to them. It's times I done gave them 20s. And I'm not saying none of this for validation. I don't record it or nothing. I'm just saying, what is a 20? 20 ain't nothing these days to somebody with a 9 to 5, right? You can work another hour and get you another 20. But to somebody on the streets, you don't know how that can make their day. Or that $20 bill might be the reason they do or do not eat that night.
This is not getting addressed in the city you live in. It's because the city you live in doesn't have or doesn't follow a plan. And what's interesting or mystifying to me is that cities are obsessed with plans. They have 10 to 30 year strategic plans for everything. For dog parks, for bike lanes, when to change the street lights, hypothetical contingency plans if Vikings invade. They have plans for everything, but homelessness is never on the list.
Right.
Cities think if they just ignore the problem, it'll go away, or some magical nonprofit will solve all of these problems, because as we all know, nonprofits have unlimited money and they have unlimited staffing, and neighborhoods just love it when nonprofits build homeless shelters. We don't solve any other societal challenge the way we do this. Imagine in your city if the healthcare infrastructure was addressed the way homelessness was. Don't build a hospital, don't plan to build one, because nonprofits will just take care of this. Or the public transportation. Imagine, just get rid of all the buses and subway. We can just rely on the good nature of passersby to pick people up. We're all going to the same place. Everyone will get to work on time. No big deal. Ending homelessness requires a plan. It requires commitment. It requires funding. It is a solvable problem, but it remains unsolvable when we address it like this. And the message is clear. If we can plan 30 years in advance of where we're going to plant a maple tree, we can plan to solve this problem. We need funding, we need commitment, and we need accountability. In cities, it's time to put homelessness on the list. Thanks for listening.
And let me speak on this as well, man. I knew somebody who worked for a nonprofit. He said the owner of the company only gave a small portion of that money out. The rest of it was going to his pocket, right? So they're collecting donations, but that money wasn't even going to what people thought it was for. I might not be saying it right. You might know a better way of wording it. But what I'm saying is these nonprofits are not what you think. They're not entitled to give out as much of the money that you think. They're actually profiting more than you would know, right? It's called a nonprofit, but a lot of the time, the ones that he's speaking on, those type, they're making millions while only giving out thousands. Let's speak on solving homelessness. Why is there not a whole community of tiny homes for the homeless? Why is there not a community of glamps even? If we want to go low budget, we could go glamps. Buy some land, put glamps on them. They good to go. We could talk about even sheds. Walmart got those sheds that you can buy for the low thousands. Somebody that's on the streets would be glad to sleep in one of those. They don't even need nothing inside of it. They'd be happy sleeping in it just like that. If you can sleep on the cement, you will most definitely be happy sleeping in the safety of foreclosed walls. They don't want to help. The government don't care. They don't want to solve this problem.
The system is fucked. It's fucked. When I tell you that I've seen mothers in their cars sleeping with their kids.
No.
I don't want to hear that shit. Hotels are booked. Motels are booked. Homeless shelters are booked. What the jobs are not responding or hiring. Everybody trying to make a way. And ain't no way to make. Like, the shelters are booked. You call them for resources. They tell you, well, this is the only way to even get help by going through the shelter, but we're booked. Like, I don't want to hear that shit. I'm doing everything I fucking can, and it seems like I'm just getting the back end of the stick. And it's not even like it's just me. It's a lot of people going through this.
A whole lot of people.
Like, no, bro, this is sick.
What is happening here in Alaska? It's taken over Anchorage, and it's all everyone here is talking about. There's more than 3,000 homeless people in Anchorage now that they counted. That's 1 out of every 100 people here is homeless now? What? That's true. And now this is the 6th worst city in the nation for homelessness. And you probably didn't even know that. Now you drive around Anchorage for a day and you'll see it all over the place. Homeless camps along the creeks, in the woods, in downtown, on the sides of the highway. on cliffs and in the parks. It's terrible. It's just getting worse.
How did you feel when they started getting those people out of here?
Relieved. We had, during most of COVID, it was relatively quiet around this 3rd Avenue area. And it was really sort of a breath of fresh air. It gave us all a chance to kind of, take a breath, relax, focus on our properties and focus on our businesses and less on, protecting them from things that were happening on the streets.
Okay, I'm just doing a really quick video. I'm getting ready to get in the shower, but I just read one comment and I just had to stop because the one comment said, "Are you selling your food stamps?" Oh my God, I can't believe you're selling your food stamps. If you listen to anything that I say, no, I'm not selling my food stamps. I would never sell my food stamps. I need those. I am staying with somebody. I have no form of rent. So I buy myself things while I'm there, things that I like, and I pick them up a few items as well. I do not consider that selling my food stamps, okay? $10, $15 of food that we share for a shower, for a night's rest. You call it however you want to call it or however you want to perceive it. It's called survival. Didn't sell nothing.
I was homeless for 2 months. 2 months. It's very easy to get out of. I got a job, saved up for 2 months, bam, out. No,
buddy, nah. I don't want to hear that. You talking about 2 months. Some people been out there for 2 years, 3 years, 10 years. He talking about it's very easy to get out of. Yes, if you can get a job. What about the people that can't get no job, my boy? You know people been waiting years, applying every single day, trying to get a job and can't. If you homeless and you don't got no access to technology, how you gonna put an app in? He making me mad. I'm gonna let him talk, but I don't like how you just started that video off. It's very easy to get out of. Boy.
Happy for you, man. You successfully got out of homelessness. You were in it for 2 months and not for an extended period of time. You know, that's good for you. But my question to you is, what about everyone else? First thing you said is I was homeless, and you were able to get out of it.
Okay, he reading the comment. Okay.
What about all the other homeless people who can't?
The comment making me mad.
A lot of homeless people have talked to me and said that they try to get a job, but they need a permanent residence in order to apply for the job and fill out their W-2 forms.
That's what I'm saying.
And so the jobs denied them and accepted people who do have homes. So what job specifically are we referring to? I'm curious. So I can let other homeless people know so, they can easily go to this one. Also, where did you shower for your job interview? Because after not showering or bathing for 2 months and you went into a job interview, you must have smelled horrible. So I'm just wondering. I'm curious. So, let me know so we can inform the other homeless people in the community. Because this sounds fantastic to me.
Doug Ford is about to make...
And it's levels to homelessness, mind you. He probably had a car. That's good. You got a car. It's people with no car, nowhere to go, nowhere to lay their head other than outside.
Homelessness problem in Ontario even worse, with his government ramming through an American-inspired solution to the homelessness crisis, putting Doug Ford at odds with our neighbors in Manitoba. And now you see in Manitoba they're trying to end homelessness by giving people places to live. Because once they have a stable place to live, they can then find work. Kind of hard to get a job when you don't have a mailing address, and you have nowhere to shower, and you have nowhere to sleep. Doug just wants to arrest homeless people, with Bill 6, the Safer Municipalities Act, implying that homeless people make everyone else unsafe. So more degrading language and behavior from Doug Ford. They want to be able to immediately evict encampments and arrest people, sending them to jail without warrant for up to 6 months and fining them $10,000. So you're going to house homeless people for 6 months at an extremely high cost to the taxpayers, and you're going to fine them $10,000 that they're never going to be able to pay? What an incredible idea, Doug. And yeah, Bill 6 is one of the cruelest things that Doug Ford has ever came up with, actively trying to violate vulnerable people's charter rights. And they've been doing this in the States. It doesn't work. You know what does work? Housing people. Putting homeless people in homes is cheaper than constantly arresting them and putting them in jail. And
I'm not going to say it's cheaper because they're going to make money off of them being in jail. That's the crazy part. Maybe for taxpayers, yeah, it's cheaper. Maybe that's what he's trying to say. Okay.
This is some newfangled ideology. This is a fact. We know this. There are studies and there is evidence to prove this. We know that the cheapest and most effective way to handle homelessness is to not have homeless people. Not by making it illegal to be homeless, but by giving them a place to live, by no longer making them homeless. But Doug Ford doesn't care about you, he doesn't care about having safer municipalities, and he definitely does not care about homeless people. Doug Ford sees them, and he's filled with disgust. Doug Ford just wants to put them out of sight and out of mind, even if it costs you, the taxpayer, more money to keep those people in jail. Because as I say time and time again, Doug Ford can't govern. Specifically in this case, both out of malice and incompetence.
Homelessness is on the rise in the U.S. Homelessness has increased by 18% since last year due to the raising rents, housing unavailability, and then also some said in major cities, the influx of migrants have also increased because migrants are now more on the streets. I believe this is a time to also think about families. There's been an increase of 40% in family level homelessness. This is parents on the streets with kids and things of that nature, which obviously is heartbreaking. But one thing that I also want us to start thinking about is how we need to reimagine the social safety net. We need to really reimagine how do we make sure that those who are marginalized, those who end up in bad circumstances are not on the streets forever. A place in Austin, Texas is actually doing this right now. It's called the City First Village. They have homeless people pay rent, which I think is smart. Secondly, they also don't have a sobriety thing, so you can use drugs and alcohol, but only in the confines of your apartment. Those are some of the things that I believe we need to continue having more of and more conversations about. It's like, how do we increase the social safety net, and what other things can we do to really make this thing possible?
The insensitivity that people are demonstrating, both men and women included, towards the woman whose children passed away in the vehicle due to hypothermia because they were homeless is...
That just hurt my heart hearing that. That's crazy. And people being insensitive to that. American pride, man. Americans some of the most ignorant people sometimes, ain't they? How you gonna make fun of some kids that passed away due to hypothermia from being in a car, homeless? That's not funny at all. That's nothing to laugh at. That's not a laughing matter.
Disgusting. I could see her receiving criticism if her hair was laid, she had nice expensive nails, she was dressed down to the T. But the girl looks clearly disheveled and also looks like she's dealing with chronic stress. And without you guys saying it, it's as if because she wasn't married, she didn't choose well, she had a bunch of kids, that also means that the kids deserve to perish. She can't take away the fact that she has 4 kids. They're here, right? So the only option that she has when there is no resources available is to live in survival mode. And to make matters worse, her raggedy baby daddy comes out to speak against her, knowing that he knocked her up 3 out of the 4 times, yet he was still not present in those children's lives like he should have been. Talking about my favorite pastime that I'ma miss is me FaceTiming them. So that means that you wasn't physically there. And I don't care what nobody says. He's lying. He refused to help that woman house those children. But another assumption that can be made, in my opinion, if this woman was conventionally attractive, she would have received help. Let's be real here. I want y'all to really think long and hard about you being in her position and how would you feel knowing that the world is against you, even though you tried your damnness to do all you could do with what you were given. Y'all have a great day. Peace.
I hate when it feels like I have so much to say, but I'm struggling to find the words to really express what I am feeling because I am genuinely frustrated. Like, are there any actual real solutions to homelessness? Like, because basically when you go to try to get in a shelter or just to receive some kind of housing or support, they just tell you that you can't be there during the day and you should be looking for a job. So basically pushing that you need to work a job to have housing. I've worked jobs. I had a full-time job and I still couldn't afford my rent. My rent was $450. Now rent is like over $2,000 just for a clean place that's a space just for you. So I'm convinced that they want everybody that is mentally ill and disabled to disappear. And What am I to do with that? What am I to do with that? Then they say, oh, well, you can start a business. It takes money to make money. What are you talking about?
Yep.
You got to still have somebody to invest in you, to believe in your dreams, to even help you get there along the way. At the end of the day, it's going to require a lot of support. And it's like the support is lacking no matter where you go. People talk about housing crisis here in California. This is happening everywhere. This is not just California. Like, this is all over America. Shoot, I don't know what's happening in other countries, but they struggling too. Like, Earth is ghetto, and I don't know why I ever came here. That's it. That's the statement.
That's true. They struggling in America, Canada, the UK, you name it. Other countries too. Australia. The same things are going on. This is a world problem at this point. What are the solutions, family? Drop them below. Like she said, if you got nothing, then it's hard for you to start a business. People say start a business. I even say that sometimes, right? But I'm speaking to the people that have capital already to invest, that can afford to diversify. If you got nothing and you starting from ground zero, what are the options for you then? You got to find a way to make the money, to invest the money. Resources are limited. Help is limited. And I learned that about the homeless shelters too a while back. People always think that's the solution. Why don't you just go to a homeless shelter? The homeless shelters kicked them out at a certain time. So you still back on the streets. Problem not solved. You don't even have time to sit and think of your next move. Yeah, you got somewhere to lay down, but then that next morning, you got to wake up and go back on the streets. It's a repeated cycle of stress. But yeah, family, let me know. Let me know if y'all got some solutions. What do y'all think at this point in time? I don't think nobody know, but drop some ideas. Appreciate you, family. Peace. And to my Hebrew fam, shalom. I will catch y'all on the next one. If y'all want to see more of these videos, let me know as well. I love y'all. I'm out.